The only moment that ever exists is right now. Right now in this present moment, and actually in the past, because you're watching a recording of a series of frames of me talking, have vibrations come out of my mouth, and you're understanding it with your brain. So by watching this video, you're technically looking into the past, which is crazy to think about. So it might be hard to understand because we're humans and we have memory and we like to categorize. It is a very human thing to have memory and past experiences and then judge our future, try to predict what's going to happen next, and we tend to forget that the present moment is even here. And you see most people nowadays in the digital world constantly being on social media, or they're out to dinner with their grandparents and they're not in the present moment, they're on their phone. And this is what's actually separating you from your highest potential, your highest frequency, and your higher, truer enlightenment. You see, because we have busy lives, okay? Everyone has shit going on, right? But the second that you stop having time for stillness, and I mean stillness, how often do you actually do nothing? And don't lie to me. Don't say, oh, yeah, I take time to do nothing because I lay in bed and I scroll, or I watch movies with my girlfriend, or, anything. But that's not truly nothing, because you're still doing something. You're still scrolling on your phone. You're still, doing whatever you're doing. But how often do you make time for yourself to literally do nothing? And I mean, sit there with no stimulation, sit in a dark black room, and most people have this right before they go to bed, right? You think of when you get your craziest ideas. It's a real thing. I used to have this all the time, where you get these crazy visualizations, crazy ideas that you can't even explain, and it's like, gosh, I had brain fog all day. I couldn't think of a single idea. And for me, it's these videos or whatever it is. I never get video ideas, and when I had to analyze it, I had to think, there's never actually time. I'm not making time for myself to do nothing. And a lot of you Christians know what I'm talking about when I say make time for God is the same thing as what I'm talking about right now. So it's very important and imperative that you stick and be in the present moment, not thinking about other things. Stick to this video. Don't click off. Not quite yet, because I have some stuff to cover that, if you actually truly apply, has the potential to change your life forever. This is one of the biggest things I had to learn. Okay? So we think about, so if we look at the past and the future, well, what is the past? The past is nothing more than your memories and experiences. So it starts with your thoughts, what you tell yourself, on the mental plane, what is going on in that head. Whatever you think then becomes an emotionally charged thought, because you feel some type of way, which then the emotion brings you to act, to take an action. And then after the action, you could then create the experience or the memory, so-called, and then it loops back. Okay, I can draw that out too. But what I need you to understand, let's go through a simple example. If you are someone who is waking up in the morning, it starts with the memory. Okay, you're on autopilot, and like I said, 95% of what you do is your subconscious. Only 5% is conscious. Is why it's hard to break that habit of being yourself, break that habit and that cycle, those chains that you hate so much, your prison, so to speak. So you wake up, let's say for an example, and you just get the thought, maybe conscious, not conscious, you just go on your phone, because that's what you do every morning before you even get out of bed. And then you get the emotion. Do you feel that type of way? You feel like, I want to watch some good stuff, I want to watch some TikToks, my brain rot. And then, like I said, it causes you to pick up your phone, act on it, and then do that. And then that becomes an experience, not a significant experience, but it's going to be ingrained into your subconscious and you're not even aware of it. So if you're not even aware, how are you going to stop? You know what I'm saying? And the future, all that the future lies and all the future is anticipation and prediction. So I had an example I thought about just actually this last weekend, and I was thinking about my cousin, and I went to spend time with her and hang out. And when some certain circumstances, how you view circumstances, your perception is big on this, because she was having a little bit of a get together, and I said, can you come with me to go to the store and get some groceries? And she said yes. And when I went to the grocery store, and there wasn't, she didn't bring her money, and then that was something, and the whole entire time, nothing else was going on, but she had such bad FOMO, such bad fear of missing out back at the house where she had all of her friends, that she was not able to be in the present moment. She was tweaking out. She was, we're going to be late. She was putting so much importance on that thing going on, but there really wasn't anything going on. Everyone was actually asleep, and I was trying to explain this to her. It was kind of weird. And I was like, can't you just be in the present moment? Like, all that exists is right now, and it's hard to explain to other people. But the fact that she was so emotionally charged into this fear of missing out, and I need to be doing this right now, that's what's important. I had to explain to her, like, the only thing that exists is right now, and you don't have any control over it, right? Because you agreed, and we're in a car, and what is tweaking going to do about it? What is being emotional and freaking out about it? And it's harder to explain to females because that's just the way they operate, is on emotions, not usually logic. But this is beyond that. Anyways, my point is, the future is sort of a fear mechanism. So if you are trying to predict certain outcomes, because we're humans, we're logical, and if you're anticipating what is going to take place in the future, well then guess what? You're never going to truly be in the present moment. And there are two types of fear. Obviously, the first being our primal reptilian brain for survival. When we see a lion, obviously we get scared and we run away. That's our fight or flight. But there's a different type of fear, and it's spiritual fear. Now, the spiritual fear works a different kind of way, because you are almost paralyzed or scared to do the things that you actually want to do. Why? Because you're judging the future. You're making predictions off of your experiences and your memories, your past. This could go back to early childhood. Let's say you had a birthday party when you were very little and nobody showed up, or something traumatic like that. Trauma, whatever. Then you're going to base your future, maybe, and you're not even conscious of this. This is 95% of your brain, which you don't even think about, is you're going to develop tendencies. Maybe you stop reaching out. Maybe you think, nobody was friends with me, I was a loser, and I'd never had any connections to humans, so therefore, I'm not worthy, I'm not capable of love. So you're going to screw up your manifestation because you are caught up in the whole past of thinking this way. Negative thought patterns. I can't make money because I wasn't successful at sports. That never worked. I tried a business before. I tried to get that job, but it failed. But what you don't realize is that your future isn't even real. Your past isn't even real. The only thing is right now, and what you do right now. I take myself through this frame every single day. What am I doing right now? Okay, maybe yesterday I fucked up. Maybe I didn't eat all my meals. Maybe I didn't move the needle forward for the business. But what can I do right now? You have to almost frame it as if you're in a movie, your own movie, because you are. And if you were the main character of your movie, what would you be doing? What would that character be doing right now? No matter what. And it's almost, this is the biggest opportunity, because if you have a come up story, right? If you have some hard shit you've been through, then it makes your success that much more significant and feel that much better. Okay? Because everyone who's done something, it started up here, right? Another thing I'd like to add to this is that your past emotions are usually regret filled. You're usually filled with some sort of regret. Regret that it didn't work, regret that you did something, that you made a mistake or you went wrong somewhere. And the future emotion is anxiety. That feeling of, I'm not capable because of the past, I'm not capable, and everyone's living in these two paradigms of the past and the future. But that story, that narrative that your brain's making up and trying to sabotage you with, loses all of its power and its grip when you anchor yourself to the very present moment. And I'm saying, like, every single moment you should be thinking, I am in control, I am in the very present moment. It's just we're going through a timeline and I'm right here, right now. Another interesting thing I will say is, once you start to look for signs, you'll start to see them. It's very interesting with the whole angel numbers. I used to think they were bullshit. But it's crazy how once you start truly looking at the numbers are almost like God's language. Mathematics is the language of the God, okay? Trying to speak to you through numbers. And whenever you catch yourself looking at the time, looking at your speedometer on your car, or just seeing any numbers and they're aligned, usually means it's a good sign. It means you're on the right path. And what I see all the time, since I started doing this months ago, literally it's crazy the amount of times I see the number 222, 1222, 222, or any combination of it. And 222, when you put your faith and trust in it, it means that you're in the right place at the right time. And so practicing being in the moment, you will start to notice these things. And I'm telling you, try this. When you start actually looking for it, you start seeing it more and more and more. And you see 333, 444. And usually that just means that you have a higher frequency and what you're doing is working because you're in the right place at the right time. Another thing I need you to understand is that your mind, your brain, is a survival instinct machine. It is not telling the truth. Your mind loves to lie to you. It loves to fill your head with constant fear or anxiety, and that spiritual fear we were talking about, where you're feeling paralyzed, like you have no power over your own reality, like you have no influence with your thoughts over the material outcomes in your life. So if you're someone who says, I want more love, I want more money, I want more muscle, or whatever physical desire you actually want, your brain is going to constantly, or God is kind of trying to constantly test you and get in your way and tell you this isn't safe, this isn't normal, but you need to almost hardwire and rewire your brain, your subconscious mind, and instead of saying, I will do this eventually, or the affirmations I will, you need to start saying I am. I am already in a loving relationship, because guess what? You're getting a glimpse into the future potential timeline of the version of you that has all those things. So you're tricking your subconscious when you tell yourself, I already have those things. And then that's on the mental plane. And then on the spiritual plane, you need to recognize a divine power within you through Christ, our Lord, amen. And then the only physical thing you need to worry about is to take action, right? You hear this all the time. Take the action, but only once you are inner fulfilled and aligned. Once you know what you want and you align yourself to that and you start telling yourself that you already have these things, you'll trick your subconscious mind. This is where most people go wrong, because they want to tell themselves, I will, or they write these affirmations, and I will, or I intend even, because intention doesn't matter without attention. So attention is way more important because where attention goes, energy flows. You hear this all the time. So you can intend all you want. You can say, you can try and trick yourself, but unless you're actually acting on it and you're putting your focus, because all focus is just condensed vibrations and frequency, because to start at the base level of everything, everything starts with a vibration. All these atoms and molecules and particles, and even in your brain, the thoughts are vibrating, and then that vibration eventually picks up to a frequency, the rate at which the vibration is moving. And the higher you can raise these thoughts and the higher you can raise your vibrations, the more you will truly manifest anything that you desire. So all I have to wrap this up with is basically that whatever you're going through on a daily basis, no matter what, your mind is constantly going to try and pull you back to your old frequency. It wants to work against you and pull you back into what is comfortable and what you've already built. If you think about every single time you've told yourself a negative thought or a scarcity thought, think about that as a little rock. And every time you have those thoughts, humans have 6,000 to 60,000 thoughts. So 60,000 of those stones, and you're building them up, and eventually day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, you're going to slowly create mountains of negative thoughts working against you. And so even if you're trying to work on this and you're trying to tell yourself positive self-affirming things, it's going to take hard work, because the devil, or whatever you want to call it, they're all interchangeable, but it's going to constantly sabotage you, and you must try to bring yourself back to that Christ state of stillness, like I said, doing nothing, and sit with your thoughts until you unlock that consciousness. So whenever you're tweaking, in simple terms, whenever you're tweaking and thinking, this business isn't going to work, I'm not going to make any money, or I'm not going to get jacked, I'm not going to lose this weight, I'm not going to get this job, I'm not going to make this college, I'm not going to make the team, whatever it is you're trying to accomplish, I promise you, you can. You just need to be able to clear the noise, realize that reality is nothing more than an illusion, and it's all within, as without, as above, so below. Now, what I need you to understand is that consciousness is deeper than thought, okay? You are not the voice in your head. There's a difference. The voice in your head is something completely different than you, because you, at the end of the day, the consciousness, you are the observer. You're simply observing the thoughts you're having on a daily basis. And remember, you are not the voice in your head. You are the one who listens to the voice in the head. Think about it like that. It's more easy to grasp that way. So, you've seen the pictures of the human brain compared to the universe. I encourage you to look at it, because it is truly crazy. Or the lungs, and how it is the Celtic tree of life, and all these, the eyeball and the human placenta, and they all match up with everything in nature is connected. The universe is connected. But one of the theories out there that I believe in is that you are the universe, right? And if you think about this more and more, we could get philosophical here, but think about it. You will truly never ever in your life observe reality outside of you. Like, I literally mean that. You have been you your whole entire life. And I always think about this, because as a kid, I would have these crazy thoughts, and it always just weirded me out. The weirdest thing I couldn't wrap my head around as a little kid, the best way I could put it is, am I really me? You know what I mean? Like, why me? Like, do I switch? Like, almost, if you know what I'm talking about, like the Lego Batman game or Lego Star Wars, how you could be the one character and then you like switch your spirit into a different body. Like, I thought it kind of almost would work like that as a kid. I thought maybe, you can switch eventually to a different person or a different life, but you can't. So you will only truly ever be you. And you are the consciousness, you are the observer ultimately of your own personal reality. But remember that reality, the physical, the external, whatever you want to call it, is not even real, it is an illusion. So you need to stop attaching yourself to these emotions of why isn't it working? Why do I not see external results? I'm looking for evidence and I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing that job. I'm not seeing the love. I'm not seeing whatever I desire. So therefore, this must all be bullshit, right? That's another lie that your brain is telling you. Now, I know we already sort of talked about the whole attention matters more than intention, but allow me to elaborate more on that point. Because you can intend for anything to happen, right? There's infinite possibilities, infinite timelines, the multiverse, when you think about in cinema and stuff like that, to visualize and understand what I'm saying. However, your attention from your consciousness, you are putting out the vibrations and the frequency. That's all attention is focus, vibration, and frequency into whatever you want. So when you can fully put your attention on it, and the only way you can really do that is to be in the now. So if you're a locked in G and you want to make a shit ton of more money, then you need to focus, right? You need to put all of your vibrations, frequency, all your thoughts onto this one thing in the present moment, rather than I'll intend on doing it some point, I'll intend on doing that business, I'll intend on starting that thing. That doesn't matter, okay? When you think about when you have these flow states, that is just you being totally immersed into the now at all moments. You're always in the now. You're not worrying about, oh shit, I gotta post this tonight, and I gotta eat these meals, and then I said I was gonna meet up with my friend, but I don't know, and now I'm anxiety and I'm stressed, and I'm gonna end up not even doing my work, and I'm gonna scroll because that's easier instead. Well, you're not gonna be productive, you're not gonna have any focus or attention on that one thing because your mind is constantly, again, occupied by the future or the past, which both are an illusion and both do not matter. Resistance equals suffering. So what do I mean by this? Whatever you resist in reality will actually persist, okay? So anytime you resist the idea of taking an opportunity or opening another door, or resist other people's opinions, resist everything, and you completely shut yourself off, that is when you're actually going to suffer. Because, and it's truly crazy, once you actually start focusing and putting your attention on raising your vibrations and being in the present moment, you'll start to see how effortlessly creative ideas flow. Intuition is crazy. You get all these ideas and you instantly know, and it's like you're not even trying, because you're not tweaking out about what you got to do or what happened back then. You're just totally in the now, in that flow state, high frequency, high vibration G. And your presence raises your vibration, because guilt, shame, doubt, anxiety, fear, like we said, they all exist in the past and the future only, which is an illusion. But when you're present, when you're with God, when you're doing something you love, then you'll actually feel those true emotions of gratefulness, joy, love, because you're totally involved in the present moment. You become appreciative, and this for me was when I used to go out to dinner with my family or go on family vacations. I'd be like, oh yeah, they're just my family, but I'd be on my phone. I'd be playing my little mobile games, or I would be scrolling social media, not realizing that I'm really just setting myself up for failure. Okay, but when you can actually take I was setting myself up to be in a very low vibrational frequency and wonder why I was so brain rotted and felt so doubtful, and I felt like I couldn't get anything done. And it wasn't until I truly, and I mean truly, put the phone down, put the distractions down, and said, you know what, this is my family, realizing it is more than just me. This is my bloodline. This is where if they didn't reproduce in the perfect chain of events, I wouldn't exist to be here. And it's my family. There's a limited amount of time, and it comes from that maturity, but it also comes from realizing I need to be in the present moment. You know, I'm with my grandma. I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful for her, to just be with her eating this nice brunch. I'm so glad she took me out. I'm so glad to be worshiping the Lord with her at church. And this makes me feel more joyful, makes me feel very grateful, because I'm placing it not just on my own human ego of what I want to do, what feels good in the moment, but I'm doing something for someone else, and I'm also just truly immersed in the now. And it raises my vibrations, which sets me up for success later. I'm not worried about anything else. Time is an illusion. Time is a man-made construct. Okay, forget weekends, forget what hour it is. If you break it down, an eternity is achieved through presence. So if you've learned anything from this video, it is that all spiritual awakening or manifestation all leads back to returning to the present moment. This is a simple kind of concept, but I need it on my channel so that you can watch it before I break down any more complex topics, because you need to understand, you need to be right here, right now, in this present moment, and nothing else exists. No reason to tweak about the future, and no reason to tweak about the past, because the only thing that is real, that you truly have control over, is right now. Raising your frequency, raising your vibrations. And I explained how to do that by simply being in the present moment and being grateful, joyful, and appreciative for life. So I hope I helped. Until the next one, peace out.